Hello, dear DSC English content candidates. Welcome back to my Grammar for Success channel. I am Koresh Babu, a retired lecturer in English from Hyderabad. In today's video, I am going to teach you the poem Palanquin Bearers, yet another poem written by Sarojini Naidu. This poem is very important, very interesting also, and this video is specially made for you only. Therefore, I request all of you to watch this video with a lot of patience, okay? And if at all you really like it, and subscribe to my channel and also share this video with all your good friends, okay? Now let's get into the video. Palanquin Bearers, written by Sarojini Naidu. Before I take up this poem, I would like to give you some introduction both to the poem and also to the poetess, okay? These two things are just combined in the introduction, okay? And in my first video made on in the bazaars of Hyderabad, I have dealt with elaborately about Sarojini Naidu. So here in this video, I am going to teach you about Sarojini Naidu very briefly, and only very important points I am dealing with, okay? And about the poem also I am going to give you some details, okay? Please follow all of them from your DSC examination point of view, right? And here I'll give you some introduction. What is that introduction? Sarojini Naidu was born in 1879 in Hyderabad. This point all of you know pretty well, and I need not explain it. And she was a renowned Indian poet, you know very well. Renowned means very famous or celebrated Indian poetess, sorry, it must be poetess, and a freedom fighter and politician. She was also a freedom fighter who participated in the Indian freedom struggle, and she was a great politician also, right? And this point is over. And next, she was one of the most illustrious Indians. She was one of the most illustrious persons of this country. Illustrious means very popular, very famous, celebrated. So she was one of the most celebrated Indians who contributed to the cultural, political and social advancement of the nation in numerous ways. So in numerous ways, in many ways, what happened? She contributed to the to our cultural advancement, on political advancement and social advancement. So this is the greatness of this Sarojini Naidu. And a few more things let us learn on the next slide. Naidu was the first woman to become the president of the Indian National Congress. You know very well, in the first video also I have dealt with this point. And Indian National Congress was started by A.O. Hume, a foreigner, okay? And for that Indian National Congress, she became the first woman president, okay? And later she became the governor of Uttar Pradesh in independent India. That means after India won independence, so in that independent India, she could become the governor of Uttar Pradesh, right? And next point, Palanquin Bearers, about the poem. Palanquin Bearers was published in Naidu's collection, The Golden Threshold. So this poem you can find in her book of poems called The Golden Threshold, right? And next, her poetry is intensely emotional. Emotional means full of feelings, full of emotions, and also passionate, full of intense feelings. That means full of emotions and full of feelings. So you find that all her poetic works, okay, are ringing with various emotions and various feelings, right? And this is also an important point. And here she was known for her lyrical poetry. Her poetry was very lyrical, so it has got some lyrical beauty. It has got some lyrical melody. So that is the greatness of her poetry that celebrates India's culture and heritage. So whatever the poem of Sarojini Naidu you take, you find that it is ringing with India's culture, India's heritage. Okay, you can find India's culture in that. You can find India's heritage in that poem. So that is the greatness of her poetry. One more point is there. Naidu's works often reflect her nationalist and feminist beliefs. So in her poetry, you can find her nationalist feelings, nationalism, patriotism, okay, and feminist beliefs. Feminist means, one who supports the rights of women is called a feminist. So she was a feminist and she supports the beliefs of women in India. So that is the greatness of this Sarojini Naidu. Now let's move on to the next slide. A few more points about the poem and the poetess. Sarojini Naidu uses the palanquin as a metaphor. Metaphor means it's a direct comparison. Palanquin stands for love because in the palanquin a bride is carried. Okay, sometimes a bridegroom is carried. Bride means love. Okay, so love. So this palanquin stands as a metaphor for love and the journey of life. So we are all now traveling in the palanquin. Okay, from our birth till our death, yes, we are just traveling. This life itself is a kind of journey. We are in the journey of life. Okay, this is ours is called the journey of life. Okay, from the birth till death, that is called the journey of life. So this palanquin stands as a metaphor for love and the journey of life. Okay, it's a very important point. And you go to the next one. The poem was written in free verse. You know very well. Free verse means without following the meter. Without following the meter, generally iambic, pentameter, trochee, and anape. So many meters are there. About the meters, okay, prosodic meters also I am going to make a video, and in that video you can learn all about prosodic meters, right? And here this poem was written in free verse. It consists of 2 stanzas of 6 lines each. Okay, 6 lines plus 6 lines, 12 lines of poem, this one, right? And next one, the poem is set against the backdrop of a traditional Indian wedding procession. This poem is set against the backdrop of a traditional Indian wedding procession. So in those days, not now, but in those days, in the 19th century and at the beginning of the 20th century, in the villages, in the towns, what happened? There used to be a wedding procession. That was our tradition. So these palanquins were seen in those days. Okay, not now, because nowadays cars have come into existence, and the procession, wedding procession, is being taken in a car, right? And here I'll highlighting the cultural significance of the palanquin. So this palanquin has the cultural significance. Okay, it is a part and parcel of our culture. So it is, of course, that was there, but nowadays the cars have come into existence, and therefore they have become a part and parcel of our culture. But until then, these palanquins stood as symbol for cultural significance. And here you see the central themes explored in the poem are love. So what are the themes explained or explored in this poem? Means love. So the bride is there. She has a lot of love for her parents. So she was leaving her parents and going to her new home of her husband. So with love, she stands as a symbol for love. So here that love is dealt with, and companionship. Okay, and friendship also, you can say. So the lady is going to have lifelong friendship with her husband, right? And transient nature of life. This poem also has a theme of transient, temporary nature of life. Okay, how long are you going to live? 60 years, 65 years, 70 years, maximum 8 years. And rarely you can say some people live beyond 80 years. That means, that 70 or 80 years of time is very transient, very little, very short. So here the transient nature, the temporary nature of life, the role of tradition in shaping human experience. And she also tells you in this poem, traditions, okay, the role of tradition that shapes human experiences. So all these things are the themes explored in this poem, right? And now let's move on to learn the next things. And these themes intersect and contribute to the poem's emotional resonance. That means, so you can find emotional richness in the poem. So all these themes are contributing to the emotional richness of this poem. Okay, that point is there. And the next, Palanquin Bearers describes a scene of bridegroom's procession. So palanquin can be seen only in the wedding procession or bridegroom's procession, or focusing on the rhythmic swaying of the palanquin bearers. So palanquin, let me give you a picture of this palanquin. So it's like this, so with some doors and all that, and here 3 persons will be carrying them, and here again 3 persons will be carrying the, so long this thing will be there. So here it is like that. So this is a palanquin. Home, 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 something like that. They would sing some kind of song according to the rhythmic movement of their feet. That is the important aspect here, focusing on the rhythmic swaying of palanquin bearers and the emotions of the bride. So very beautiful, sir. Please keep this point in your mind. And here now let's go to the next point, the palanquin jasmine flowers. Of course, some flowers are mentioned in the poem. We just take them for granted, only jasmine flowers. And bride's veil, the face of the bride is covered with a transparent veil, okay, cloth, okay. And the river, there is also a river mentioned in the poem. And here all these are symbols of this poem that convey deeper meaning. If you observe the words, you find some deeper meaning about love, beauty, and the passage of time. All these convey deeper meanings about love, about beauty, and about the passage of time, passing of time. Time passes by. It won't stop for you and for me. So here, the passage of time. So all these things have the deeper meaning, okay, and they are indicated or expressed through these symbols, right? And that point is also there. And you go to the next one. The tone of the poem shifts from celebratory and joyous to reflective and melancholic as the poem progresses. As the poem begins, the atmosphere looks to be celebratory, okay. Celebratory means very happy and joyful, cheerful, joyous, and the atmosphere was very happy. But gradually, as the poem is progressing, what is happening? It becomes reflective. The bride thinks of her parents. She thinks of her home. She thinks of her close relatives who are left behind her. And therefore, it turns into a melancholic tone, melancholic atmosphere. The atmosphere, first of all, the atmosphere was very happy and joyful, and later on it becomes very melancholic. Melancholic means very sad, because she is leaving her parents behind. That is very painful, and therefore this bride is very reflective of her parents, and she also turns melancholic, very sad. So this point is very interesting, very important. Keep these 3 points in your mind, and here let's move on to learn other things on the other slide. Naidu's language choices shape the reader's emotional response. So she is in the habit of using some words that evoke the reader's emotional response. Okay. Specific words, phrases used in the poem evoke different emotions and sensations. Okay, specific words and used in the poem, specific phrases used in the poem will evoke different emotions and sensations. Sensations means again feelings. Okay, and one more point: the characteristically Indian poem takes us back to India at the beginning of 20th century. I have already told you about this point, because palanquins could be seen only at the beginning of the 20th century. After independence, also for a few years, they must have been in existence, and afterwards they disappeared, because cars have come into existence. So that was the reason. And when palanquins were a common sight in the Indian streets, wherever during the marriage season, what used to happen, so wherever you go in the streets, you could find a palanquin, and the palanquin bearers will be carrying the bride or bridegroom in that palanquin. Okay, so that was a common sight at the beginning of the 20th century, because they used them as a means of transfer for nobility and royalty. In those days, using a palanquin was a symbol of nobility, was a symbol of royalty. Only in those days, the royal people, the rich people, wealthy people only use it to these palanquins. So that was a mode of transportation. So carrying a bride, carrying a bridegroom is that. Okay, this is also a very interesting point. And here the central theme of Palanquin Bearers is the reflection of Indian customs and traditions of Indian marriage. So in this poem, you find the Indian customs and Indian traditions that are observed in the Indian marriage. In the Indian marriage, even till today, we maintain or we observe different customs and different traditions according to the regions. In Telangana, one kind of customs and traditions. In Andhra, some kind of customs. In Northern India, Western India, Southern India. So in this way, different customs and traditions that are involved in the Indian marriage can be seen in the Palanquin Bearers. That is the theme of this poem, Palanquin Bearers. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide. In this poem, the Palanquin Bearers carrying a beautiful bride, not mentioned in the poem. Of course, the bride is not mentioned, but it is assumed that there is a bride, because you are carrying a palanquin means without a bride or bridegroom you cannot carry a palanquin. So therefore we assume that there is a beautiful bride in that palanquin. Okay, and in the palanquin to her new home. She was proceeding to her new home. That means in-laws home, right? And the palanquin bearers usually sing songs. So this is another important aspect. So you have to keep in mind, that is generally these palanquin bearers, to forget their labor, to forget their tiresomeness, okay, tiresomeness, wearisomeness, they sing songs. Okay, so here padutu pani chestunte alupu solupu undadu. So that song you know very well. Here therefore the palanquin bearers always sing songs in rhythmic harmony. In rhythmic harmony, in a rhythmic harmony. You might have seen the scene of palanquin bearers, okay, carrying some dancer in Aditya 369 something movie was there. In that you can find that. And here in rhythmic harmony with their footsteps, according to their footsteps, they sing that song and they move on forward. Okay, and here therefore they sing, praise the bride while the carrying in the palanquin. So they sing a song praising the bride, the beautiful bride in that palanquin. So that is that. And you go to the next one. The poem portrays the journey of veiled bride being carried towards her new. Already it is repeated. It in another form I have. So this poem portrays or describes the journey of a veiled bride. Okay, veiled means covered bride is being carried towards new home in that palanquin. New home means, already I have told you that it is nothing but the in-laws home. Okay, right. It follows a unique rhyme scheme. In this poem also, though it is a free verse, some rhyme scheme is observed in this poem. That is A, B, B, C, C. That is the rhyme scheme. That means A line rhymes with the first line rhymes with the second line, the third line rhymes with the fourth line, the fifth one rhymes with the sixth line. A, B, B, C, C. Where here the first line with the second, the third line with the fourth, the fifth line with the sixth lines are rhyming. That you can find in this poem. Okay, that lends some kind of beauty to the poem. In the first stanza also I have told you about this in Telugu. Ningiloni Chandamama Tongi Chusi. Ningi Tongi. So it gives some kind of beauty to the song. Right. Okay. And now let's move on to learn the poem. And here the text of the poem is given. And let me explain the meaning of that first stanza. Very simply I will explain. Please, I don't want to elaborate because this is a video, you know. If it is beyond 50 minutes, you know, nobody is watching it. Don't you sit in the class for 1 hour or 2 hours continuously? So in the classroom you sit for 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours at a stretch, but you don't have patience to watch a video that has a length of 50 minutes or 60 minutes. So that is really very disappointing. Okay, please try to watch. That's why now I am hurrying. So now let us see the meaning of this stanza. Lightly, oh lightly, we bear her along. Bear her. Her means the bride, okay? The beautiful bride in the palanquin. So here, we means who? We means they are none other than palanquin bearers. Okay, the palanquin bearers say that they are carrying. Bear means carry. So they are carrying the beautiful bride in a palanquin. How? Very lightly. Lightly means very gently or very carefully, very steadily, so that nothing bad could happen to the bride who is in the palanquin. So that's why they were carrying the palanquin very carefully, very gently, very steadily, something like that. So that is what they themselves are saying. Okay, now see the meaning of the second line. She sways like a flower in the wind of our song. That means the palanquin bearers say that the bride in the palanquin sways. Sways means what? Moves gracefully. Because she is the bride, she moves gracefully and just like a flower. How is she moving? Like a flower. And what does this flower do? That sways softly. That sways softly in the wind of our song. In the wind of our song means to the rhythm and melody of their song, in the gentle breeze. Wind is also, in the wind means in the gentle breeze of their song. Okay, right. So that is the meaning of the second line. Third line, she skims like a bird on the foam of a stream. So here next the palanquin bearers say that the bride in the palanquin skims. Skims means what? Glides. Glides smoothly. Gliding, you know very well. Glides smoothly like a bird that moves effortlessly. You know very well. The birds move effortlessly. They don't exert any effort to fly or to move, isn't it? Do they use any effort? No, automatically, because it's a bird. So that's why here she glides smoothly like a bird that moves effortlessly on the foam of a stream. On the foam of a stream is just above. Okay, what is that? Just above. On is just above the surface. Okay, and just above the surface of the foamy river. Foamy river. Foam of a stream means here river. So foam of a stream means on the surface of the foamy river. Foamy means the river which is filled with foam. So here just above the surface of the. So therefore you just see the meaning of this. She glides smoothly like a bird that moves effortlessly just above the surface of the foamy river. So that's the meaning of the third line. And you go to the fourth line. She floats like a laugh from the lips of a dream. So here the palanquin bearers say that the bride floats. Floats means what? Leaps up. How? Like a laugh. She leaps up. Leaps up means she drifts up. Drifting means floating. Okay, floating or drifting, both are the same. And she leaps up like a laugh. Okay, that escapes from the lips of a dream. That means that escapes the lips of the lips, that escapes the lips. From the lips means that escapes the lips of a dream. Of a dream means what? Escape the lips of a dreaming girl. That is the meaning you have to take. So from the dreaming girl, what happens? The laugh escapes very softly. In the same manner, here she leaps up in that palanquin. When they are carrying the palanquin, she is leaping up. She is floating or she is drifting. Okay, that is there because they are walking according to the steps. There will be some movements in the palanquin. So that's why here the palanquin bearers say that the bride in the palanquin leaps up like a laugh that escapes the lips of a dreaming girl. That is the meaning of the fourth line. And here, gaily, oh gaily, we glide and we sing. So in this way, here the palanquin bearers say that they are gliding. Gliding means moving smoothly forward. They say they are gliding and singing a song very joyfully and very cheerfully. That's why they say gaily and gaily, joyfully and cheerfully. We move forward smoothly while singing a beautiful song according to the rhythm of their steps. Okay, that's the meaning of this. And we bear her along like a pearl on a string. So here, let us see the meaning of this last line. We bear her along like a pearl on a string. That means the palanquin bearers say that they are carrying the beautiful bride in the palanquin, and who is very precious and valuable. Who is very precious and valuable. Okay. How? Just like a pearl. Pearl means, mutyamu. Just like a pearl that delicately hangs from a string. So from a string, from a string or from a chain that will be dangling or hanging very delicately. These pearls will be dangling. So here the palanquin bearers say that they are carrying the beautiful bride who is precious and valuable like a pearl that delicately hangs from a string. So that is the meaning of this beautiful stanza. Okay, and here so the same meaning is given for your convenience on the next stanza. Okay, now, come on, let's move on to the next stanza. Stanza 1 summary, whatever I have just now taught you, line by line. Okay, here you pay attention. Lightly, oh lightly we bear her along. So this is all for your benefit and convenience. Okay, lightly, oh lightly we bear her along means here the palanquin bearers say that they are carrying the bride in the palanquin very gently. Lightly and lightly means very gently and carefully. Clear. The meaning of this first line is over. And you see the meaning of the second line. She sways like a flower in the wind of our song. I have already told you that this bride sways. Sways means moves. How? Gracefully. How? Like a flower. Okay, so that point I have told you. The same point is given here. They say that the bride in the palanquin moves gracefully like a flower. Okay, she sways like a flower means she moves gracefully like a flower. And what does this flower do? That sways softly. This flower tosses its head. In the poem Daffodils, William Wordsworth says these flowers are tossing their heads. Tossing their heads means, tossing means swaying their heads in the little breeze. Here, there, William Wordsworth will say that. And here, this flower, generally what happened? It sways softly. How? To the rhythm and melody of their song. So, in the wind of our song means to the rhythm and melody of their song in the gentle breeze. Wind means gentle breeze. So, the meaning of this is clearly mentioned here. Please, you can follow that. And here, she skims like a bird on the foam of a stream. So, here, what is the meaning I gave you? They say that she glides smoothly. Skims means glides smoothly. This is given. The meaning of this skim is given in red color. Okay, she glides smoothly like a bird. Okay, what does a bird do? The bird moves effortlessly. I have already told you, a bird doesn't use any effort in order to fly, in order to move. So in this way, effortlessly the birds move just above the surface on the foam of a stream, means on the surface of the foamy river. This point I have told you just now. Right, and now you see the meaning of the next three lines. Fourth line is there. She floats like a laugh from the lips of a dream. So already I have told you, float means leaps up or drifts like a laugh that escapes the lips of a dreaming girl. I have told you that. The same point I have given here. Whatever I have taught there, I have just given here. They means the palanquin bearers say that she leaps. She means the bride. Again and again, I did not like to write the bride. So that's why I'm using this pronoun she. She leaps up like a laugh that escapes the lips of a dreaming girl. From the lips of a dream means that escapes from the lips of a dreaming girl. So that is there. Okay, gaily, oh gaily, we glide and we sing. Or that means here the bearers are carrying the bride. How? These bearers means palanquin bearers are carrying the bride, moving forward smoothly. Glide means move forward smoothly. How? We sing, they say, while singing a song along the way. Where are they singing? Along the way, while carrying the bride in the palanquin. And how are they singing? Gaily, oh gaily. That means cheerfully and joyfully. They are not singing that song sadly. They are singing that song joyfully, cheerfully. So that point you can understand here. And you go to the last line I have taught you. We bear her along like a pearl on a string. We bear. The palanquin bearers say that they are carrying the beautiful bride who is so precious, who is so valuable, just like a pearl that delicately hangs from a ring, a chain or string. From the string, it will be dangling, it will be hanging. So the same point I think I have given you here. Whatever I have taught you is given here, okay, for your convenience and for your benefit. They say that they are carrying the beautiful bride who is precious and valuable, like a pearl delicately hanging from a string. Very good. So keep these two slides in your mind. If you don't understand this poem, you read this and you understand this meaning. Read this line, understand this meaning. So for your benefit, I have given you this one. Here, the last point is there. In this way, the palanquin bearers admired the richly attired bride. Okay, on the day of marriage or while the bride is being carried to her new home, she will be richly attired, dressed. Okay, the richly attired means dressed bride for her beauty in their song. So they were singing about the beauty of the richly dressed bride in that palanquin. So that is all about this. And now let's move on to learn the next stanza and its meaning. Now you see the meaning of the second stanza. Softly, oh softly, we bear her along. So the meaning of this is, the palanquin bearers say that they are carrying the beautiful bride in their palanquin. How? With softly, and softly means with the utmost care. With the utmost care and gentleness, okay, because nothing bad should happen to that bride. The bride is always delicate. She's a young girl. Girls are generally, or brides are generally very delicate. Okay, so that's why with utmost care and gentleness we are carrying her in our palanquin. This is what the palanquin bearers say in this line. And if you go to the next line, she hangs like a star in the dew of our song. That means the palanquin bearers say that she hangs means here she looks, okay, like what? Radiant and beautiful star. Stars are very beautiful. Stars are very bright and radiant. So just like a radiant and beautiful star that shines brightly. Stars shine brightly. Okay. Where? In the dew of our song. In the dew of our song means in the dew. Dew means snow. Mansu. Himamu. How pure it is. Okay. How fresh it is. Early in the morning you just find some dew on the grass or outside. That is so fresh. That is so pure. So here in the dew means in the freshness of their song. They say that the bride looks just like a bright and beautiful star that shines brightly in the freshness or in the purity of their song. So that is what they are saying. And you go to the meaning of the third line. She springs like a beam on the brow of the tide. That means the palanquin bearers say that the bride springs. Springs means bounces. Bouncing. When you sit on a spring chair, you bounce. Bouncing. So this bride bounces just like a radiant beam. A bright beam. What happens? Whose rays fall, what is that? Gently on the brow. On the brow means on the surface of the tide. Tide means a surface of the waves of the sea. Tides can be found only in the sea. That's why the waves of sea. Okay. This is what you can find. The palanquin bearers say that the bride bounces like a bright beam whose rays fall gently on the surface of the tide, on the surface of the waves of the sea. That is what they say. And the next fourth line is there. She falls like a tear from the eyes of a bride. So here the palanquin bearers say that she falls. She falls means one meaning is there, lose control. Lose control. You know very well, this bride is leaving her parents behind, and therefore her emotions are delicate and poignant, isn't it? When the bride leaves her parents, her relatives, her brothers, sisters, and all those people behind, and generally her emotions will be delicate and poignant, and therefore whatever she loses control and bursts into tears. Okay. and bursts, okay, into tears. Okay, you know very well. Whenever the brides go to their in-laws' home, they burst into tears, hugging her father, hugging her mother, hugging her sisters, and all other relatives. You know, she bursts into tears. And how are these tears? From the eyes of a bride. That means these tears which trickle down means that flow down uncontrollably. This very point. You cannot stop that. Uncontrollably, the tears will be trickling down from the eyes of that bride. So here, once again, I tell you the meaning of this line. The palanquin bearers say that the bride loses control and bursts into tears, okay, is because she is leaving her parents behind. She is leaving her relatives, brothers, sisters behind, and that's why her emotions are delicate and poignant, and therefore she bursts into tears. And what kind of tears? That trickle down uncontrollably from the eyes of the bride. So that is the meaning of this. And now you see the meaning of the last but one line of this stanza. Lightly, oh lightly we glide and we sing. So here lightly means softly and softly. We glide means we move forward. Okay, we sing means we are singing a song while carrying the palanquin. So here the meaning of this, the palanquin bearers say that they are moving forward how softly and softly while singing a beautiful song in the praise of that beautiful bride in the palanquin. So here that is the meaning of that. And next you see that we bear her along like a pearl on a string. Again the same meaning is there. So they say that they are carrying the beautiful bride, okay, who is so precious and valuable like a pearl that delicately hangs from a string. This point, the meaning of this point I have given in the earlier stanza also. So you can find it. So this is the meaning of this. So here stanza 2 meaning is there, line by line meaning. Okay, here softly, oh softly we bear her along. That means very simple. I have already told you that the palanquin bearers say that they are carrying the bride with utmost care and gentleness. Softly means utmost care and gentleness. Right? Keep this point in your mind. And she hangs like a star in the dew of our song. She hangs means I have already told you she looks how like a bright star. Okay, so the meaning is given. Why should I give you again? So they say that she looks like a radiant and beautiful star that shines brightly in the dew. Dew means what? The freshness or purity of their song. The song is fresh, the song is pure in the same, just like this dew. In the morning, you find some dew that is so fresh and so pure, and their song is also so fresh and pure. So that is the meaning here, right? And now let's move on to the other lines. Ninth line is there. She springs like a beam on the brow of the tide. So what does it mean? They mean the palanquin bearers say that she bounces. Springs means bounces like a radiant beam or bright. Radiant means bright. I have used this word. Radiant means bright beam whose rays fall gently. It should be fall. Of course, they fall. Whose rays fall gently on the brow. On the brow means on the surface of the tide, means of the waves of the sea. That's the meaning. Of the tide means, of the waves. Waves can be found only in the sea. So on the waves of the sea. So that is the meaning of this. Okay, very clearly I am giving you so that you can watch this video again and again and try to understand this poem. And here she falls like a tear from the eyes of a bride. I have already told you, as she is leaving her parents' house forever, her emotions are delicate and poignant, and she loses control and burst into tears. What kind of tears? Which trickle down, flow down uncontrollably. You cannot control you cannot control her tears. You cannot control her weeping. She starts weeping. She will burst into tears means she starts weeping, because she is leaving all her parents, relatives, brothers, sisters behind, and that's why she becomes emotional, and she bursts into tears, and which trickle down uncontrollably from her eyes. Okay, and now let's go to learn the meaning of the other two lines. 11th line is there. Lightly, oh lightly we glide and move. Glide means move forward. That's there. move forward smoothly, and we sing. So here we move forward smoothly and lightly. Lightly means softly also. Smoothly means softly. That is the meaning. And here the same meaning is given. The bearers continue to glide, to move forward smoothly, singing joyfully. They are always singing joyfully, maintaining their graceful procession. Graceful procession. So maintaining their grace. The procession is very graceful. Okay, very attractive. Okay, right. And here you go to the meaning of 12th line. We bear her along like a pearl on a string. I have already told you about this. You please watch this again and again. You can find the meaning. All these things will be recorded in your mind. And here you see they say that they are carrying the beautiful bride who is precious and valuable, like a pearl, delicately hanging from a string. The same meaning I have given earlier in the first stanza also, right? Okay, this is the meaning of the second stanza. So in this way, the meaning of the first stanza is over, the meaning of the second stanza is over, and now we are going to learn the important points to be remembered from the examination point of view. Very quickly I read all those things, and please watch this video again and again if at all you want to get through the DSC examination and if you want to get a job, because this opportunity does not come to you again and again. Please keep this point in your mind. Right. And here one more thing is there. Thus the palanquin bearers admire the richly attired bride. This point was also given earlier under the first stanza for her beauty in their song. Right. Literary devices employed in the poem. This is a very important aspect from your examination point of view. And here, let me say alliteration. All of you know very well. The consonantal sounds in the line of the poem will be repeated. So that gives some kind of beauty to that poem or that line. Here, alliteration in the poem with the repetition of consonant sounds. That's very important. And in the beginning of the words. Okay, here what is that? She floats like laugh from the lips of a dream. Okay, so here what is that? Low, flow, low, lie, la, li. See that the same sound. Low, she floats, lie, la, li. So these are la, la, li, lu, le. So these are all what is that? The repetition of the consonant sounds. And here a personification is there, attributing the human qualities to the non-human objects. That you know very well, that's called personification. And here you see flowers swaying. See, flowers are swaying just like a human being. Swaying means moving. And birds skimming, moving, gliding smoothly, skimming. And laugh floating. So will laugh float? No. Laugh doesn't float, but here human quality is attributed to this laugh, and therefore it is said laugh floating, hanging star. The stars are not hanging. Okay, it is there fixed. Okay, and springing beam. Okay, bouncing beam, bouncing beam. So these are all what is that? Personifications. Okay, right. We go to the next literary devices. Then repetition is there. Repetition of what? The repetition of certain words and phrases such as lightly, gaily, softly, and we bear her along. So these words, these words and phrases are repeated. Lightly, oh lightly, gaily, oh gaily, softly, oh softly. See that the words are repeated. So that has lent some kind of charm and beauty to the poem, right? And we bear her along. This sentence was given in the first stanza as well as in the second stanza. So in this way, it creates a rhythmic and musical quality. When it is said so, what happens when the words are repeated? They lend some kind of beauty of rhythmic and musical quality. So to the poem, right? And it emphasizes the graceful and joyous nature of the procession. So these words, what are they doing? They are, telling you that the procession of that wedding procession. The wedding procession is moving on gracefully and joyously. So it indicates the graceful and joyous nature of the procession. Okay, enjambment. Be silent here. Enjambment. Be silent. Okay, enjambment. Enjambment means the uses of enjambment, where lines flow into the next line without a pause or break. So one line flows into the other line without a comma, without a break, without a pause. So that is called enjambment. This technique contributes to the continuity of the poem's rhythm and imagery. So here what happens, when that is done, what happens, the beauty of the poem doesn't get cut off. It will flow continuously. it will continue. So that is the thing, right? And here one example is that, oh gaily, we glide and we sing, we bear her along like a pearl on a string. So this is a continuous line. Okay, right. And let us learn about the other literary devices. Simile is there. In this poem, there are as many as 7 similes used between the bride being carried and various other natural elements. So between this bride, what is that? Other natural elements like what is a star, like a flower, like a beam. So this comparison is there. This bride being carried is compared with these things, natural things, right? And let us see all of them. She sways most gently like a flower. She sways like a flower. And here she skims like a bird. These are all similes, like a flower, like a bird that moves effortlessly just above the surface of the foamy river. And here she floats, leaps up like a laugh, okay, that escapes the lips of the dreaming girl. Okay. So here 3 are given, and the remaining things I will give you on the next slide. 4th one, the palanquin bearers carry the bride who is like a pearl, delicately hanging from a string. So like a pearl, another simile. She hangs or dangles. Hangs means what? Dangles or swings like a star, which shines brightly. So it's like a star. Okay, that is there. And here she springs or leaps up or bounces like a beam, like a pearl, like a star, like a beam. Okay, these are all similes. Okay, she falls or loses her control and bursts into tears. Okay, here like a tear was there, like a tear. But I have just given the meaning of that, like a tear. She bursts into a tear. She bursts how? Like a tear. Tear. So in this way, these are all similes and other literary devices. If there are, I think there are 1 or 2 literary devices. Let us learn them. Symbolism is there. The poem uses symbolism to represent the palanquin as a symbol of beauty, elegance, and celebration. So this palanquin is used as a symbol of beauty. It's a symbol of beauty. It's a symbol of elegance. It's a symbol of celebration, right? And here the comparison of the bride to a pearl symbolizes her value and preciousness. So you are calling her a pearl means pearl is a very valuable stone. Similarly, she is valuable and precious also. And imagery is there. The poem is replete means full of sensory imagery, appealing to the reader's senses of sight, sound, and touch. Sight, okay, sound and touch. Oh gaily, sound. Touch is also there. So beautiful. Sight is also there. Some like a pearl, like a flower, like a beam. So they create some kind of sensory imagery. That is, mental pictures are called imagery, right? You know that very well. And here it paints vivid pictures of the bride swaying like a flower, skimming like a bird, hanging like a star. When you are taught hanging like a star means automatically you think of that star hanging. Swaying like a flower means you just think of the flower swaying. When skimming like a bird means you immediately think of what is that the bird gliding. What is that? So in this way, all these pictures creating a visual and sensory experience for the reader. So this is very important. And you go to the next one. See, points to be remembered. This is nothing but the summing up of the entire poem and the details I have given. Okay, that's why I read these points very quickly in just 2-3 minutes. Okay, and wind up this video, right? And here the central theme of Palanquin Bearers is the reflection of Indian customs, traditions of Indian marriage. So this point I have dealt with earlier also. The same points I am giving at one place. That is there. Points to be remembered means you have to keep these points in your mind, and all these points are put or arranged at one place. This is what I am doing here. And here the poem primarily celebrates the beauty and elegance of the journey. Okay, the beauty of the journey in the palanquin, the elegance of the journey in the palanquin, right? And you know that the poem Palanquin Bearers creates atmosphere which is both joyful and cheerful. So it creates at the beginning some joyful and cheerful atmosphere, but later on it turns into melancholic. Okay, that you know very well, right? The bride being carried in the palanquin sways like a flower that sways softly in the gentle breeze. You know that very well. Okay, and here the bride in the palanquin floats like a laugh that escapes from the lips of a dreaming. So all these things are already dealt with. So the same points are given one by one at one place. The bearers move, glide gently with a sense of celebration, with a sense of joy. They are moving. Okay, they are not moving sadly or unhappily, but they are moving forward, carrying that palanquin very joyfully and cheerfully. Right. The young bride is as a beautiful pearl hanging from a string. This also you know very well. And here the bearers carry out their task gaily and with joy. So they are doing their job. Carrying a person in the palanquin is a burden something, is a cumber something. Even then they are doing or they are carrying out their job very gaily. Gaily means very happily, with joy. So that is there. Right. Okay, certain points which I have not dealt with, I am explaining here. With the effect of the repetition of lightly and gaily symbolizes the grace and joy of the procession. Right. The palanquin bearers compare the bride with a bird moving effortlessly above the surface of the foamy river, and with the laugh that escapes the lips of the dreaming girl. So this point also I have already dealt with, so I need not explain it again. Right. The palanquin bearers sing a song in rhythmic harmony with their footsteps. In rhythmic harmony with their footsteps. That means in accordance with their steps. So like that. Okay, the palanquin bearers admire the bride for her beauty in their song. What are they doing? They are singing a song. What are they doing in their song? They are praising the beauty of that bride whom they are carrying in the palanquin. That's there. They compare the bride's beauty with that of a star which shines brightly in the dew or freshness created by their song. Okay, right. And here they are happy, filled with joy. See, these palanquin bearers are happy and filled with joy, for they are taking a noble lady, a newly wedded bride. See, they feel, they are carrying, they are doing a job which is very dignified. They are doing their job therefore joyfully and happily, cheerfully, and because they are taking a noble lady, a newly wedded bride, to her husband's home in a veiled palki. Palki means this palki, actually in the northern India they say palki. Palki, from palki, palanquin. That is the English word. Palki is a Hindi word. The heavy palanquin is very light for them, for it is an errand of pleasure and joy. So this is a heavy palanquin. The palanquin is very heavy. This side 3 persons, that's the other side 3 persons will be carrying. 6 persons will be carrying. Okay, whatever it is. But it is this heavy palanquin becomes very light because they are doing it is an errand of pleasure and joy. Because errand means it's a trip. It's an errand of pleasure and joy. It's a pleasure trip. It's a joyful trip. So that's why this heaviness of the palanquin has become lightness for them. Right. The palanquin bearers take pride in their role and celebrate it. So they are very proud of their role, proud of their job. You might think they are just carrying the palanquin and they are inferior to others. Don't think like that. But these people, these palanquin bearers, you might think so, but the palanquin bearers are taking pride in their role, in their job, and they are celebrating it. Right. The tone of the poem of palanquin bearers is happy-go-lucky and celebratory. That is the tone. Very celebratory, very joyful, very cheerful, very happy like that. And here the young richly attired bride is as beautiful as a girl, as a beautiful pearl that hangs. Already I have given this one. And here the literary device used when the bride in the palanquin is compared to a pearl on a string. That you know very well, like a pearl. How was she? She was like a pearl. She was very bright like a pearl. Okay, and she was very precious like a pearl, valuable like a pearl. So here this this comparison is called simile. Very well, already I have mentioned as many as 7 similes that are there in the poem. Right. The comparison of a tear from the eyes of a bride suggests the bride's sadness and sorrow. So she was in one of the lines, she falls like a tear. She falls like a tear means that indicates the bride's sadness and sorrow. That point is clear. Okay, and by using the simile, she floats like a laugh from the lips of a dream. The poet wishes to indicate the bride's lightness and feathery quality. She floats like a laugh. So laugh is very light. So similarly, here this bride is also very light and very delicate. So to indicate that lightness and feathery quality of that bride, here the poetess compares this bride to a laugh. Laugh is very light. Okay, right. The radiance of the bride is compared with a beam, the rays of light that falls on the waves of the sea. This you know very well. And here, despite her tear-filled eyes, her eyes are filled with tears. Okay, as she is leaving her parents' house forever. So she is leaving her parents' house forever. Of course, her surname will be changed and she will come and go. But the thing is, she is called the woman of that house, not this house. That is there. And the bride looks gorgeous, though she is tear-filled. She looks gorgeous. That gorgeous means beautiful and attractive. Right. The little device the poetess employs to describe the bride's sadness by saying a tear from the eyes of a bride is a simile. Like a tear, she falls like a tear, like a tear. What is the poetess doing? She is comparing her with a tear. So that's why this is a simile, right? And the phrase like a pearl on a string is suggestive of bride's value, and already I have given you this one. She is compared with a pearl means she is very valuable and precious. That is the meaning. Okay, by saying star in the dew of her song, he wishes to, she wishes to say that, sorry. Here it should be she please, okay, by mistake it is written, and by saying star in the dew of her song, she wishes to say the bride is radiant and precious. So that is what is. And the repetition of the word lightly emphasizes the ease and grace of the carrying. So lightly, they say that though the palanquin is very heavy, they say lightly. Lightly means here, with gently and steadily and carefully. That is the meaning, of course. So it indicates the ease and grace of the carry. It tells you what? They are doing that job easily, gracefully. So that is there. That indicates, right. So with this video comes to an end, and with another beautiful video, I shall be back to you. Dear DSC English content candidates, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any problem, please mention your problem in the comment section, and make use of my mobile number given in the description, and you can directly contact me also. So from 4 to 6 o'clock in the evening. Okay, I'm inviting all of you to contact with me, and if you have any problem in understanding anything, you please ask me about that. I'm ready to answer it. Okay, with another beautiful video that is about where the mind is without fear, written by Rabindranath Tagore. I shall be back to you. Until then, bye. See you all of you.